joining me at 6:30 to talk through, which lets you know it's obviously not an emergency, nothing super serious, more frightening, I think, for his youngest son. I think I can reveal it because Mike's going to be joining me. He broke his arm doing something. I'm not sure what, but sounds like he's going to be okay. Mike's going to drop by at 6:30, break down what happened with his son, and also I'm sure we're going to end up talking some Lakers, talking some NBA. He might give his thoughts on the World Cup. Mexico and South Korea just kicked off. And by the way, Wilbur, I was driving through Koreatown. I drive through Koreatown to get to the station every day. And let me tell you something. With Mexico taking on South Korea.
Oh, I tried to make it an emphasis to get in like at least an hour early. That was not possible today.
Let me tell you, going through Koreatown, which has a high population of both Mexican Americans and Korean Americans and Mexican Korean immigrants, that is El Tráfico. With all sincere respect to obviously our friends at LAFC and our partners and the Galaxy, y'all ain't got bleep on El Tráfico. That was El Tráfico. And I can also tell you right now, LA is jumping with this game. Like last week, I was part of the show with Mace and Sua Cravens at Hollywood Park Casino, leading up to USA versus Paraguay. And that was a big deal. And it was jumping there and people were super excited. I think the city might actually be more excited for Mexico versus South Korea. That involves a massive chunk of LA's population.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So
the real question is, are you carne asada or are you Korean barbecue now?
I am carne asada, A, because my wife is Mexican-American, so I know what the right answer is. But B, I legitimately, while I enjoy both foods, I enjoy carne asada more than I like Korean if I had to choose.
True.
I do like Korean food. I like Korean food a lot. But I gotta ride carne asada. But either way, man, like there was a street festival being set up in Koreatown with like a massive screen that on a stage that looked like it was going to be a watch party. Like I think the vibes all over this city for Mexico versus South Korea. Matches barely started. Still 0-0, as they would say. That's the way the soccer heads describe it, 0-0. But we're going to have Mike Trudell. He's going to drop by, talk about what happened to his son, the Lakers, World Cup, all that stuff. Got a lot of other really good guests. At 6:15, I'm going to be joined by Mike Garcia. You know him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. He is an excellent draft guy. He's one of my go-tos. We're going to talk with him about the Lakers and the 25th pick, who could be available, who's a fit. I'm curious about, is there anybody the Lakers could select that could get rotation minutes now? Even like, I'm not talking like 20 to 30 minutes a night, but I'm talking 8, 10, 12 minutes. Be a legitimate 10th guy in the rotation, 9th guy in the rotation, because that is something the Lakers needed. J.J. Redick and Rob Pelinka acknowledged during their exit interviews that the bottom of the rotation, that depth needs to be souped up. So we're going to talk with Mike Garcia about that at 7 o'clock. Going to talk with Anthony Irwin. He is the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast, also covers the Lakers for the Offsides app. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. Break down what can be expected for the Lakers this offseason and what should be expected for the Lakers this offseason, because I do think Laker fans may have expectations of this offseason after all the time that has been spent building up the summer of 2026, the summer of optionality, as we've often heard. But at the same time, when you spend a couple years kicking the can down the road, talking about, keeping powder dry, and then really talking up this offseason at a time where you really need to start taking advantage of Luka Doncic in his prime. This is the first superstar the Lakers have had in his prime that we know is good enough to take a team to the finals, like a true MVP caliber player since Kobe in his prime. So Obviously, the Lakers need to be methodical about this build, and that you don't want to take wild swings a la Russell Westbrook that set you back. But at the same time, man, tick-tock. Like, there is not time for wasting now. Luka ain't old, but he ain't young. So talk about that with Anthony Irwin. Then at 7:30, Blake Harris, who covers the Dodgers for his Substack, Thinking Blue with Blake Harris. You can follow him on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. Going to get his thoughts on where the Dodgers stand right now, how they managed to keep winning despite the injuries, persistent injuries, and some guys who are slumping. Want to also get his thoughts on Shohei Ohtani, who had a difficult outing yesterday on the mound, and it's on the heels of a solid but not great. He's got a blister he's dealing with, got a knee he's dealing with. Just want to find out his thoughts on Shohei Ohtani, plus your calls, 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-ESPN, if you want to weigh in on whatever. But begin with the Lakers, and Dave McMenamin, ESPN's own, he has a new piece out about the Lakers offseason, and now that the NBA Finals are done, the Knicks had their parade today, which looked extremely fun. Mayor Mondami, no matter what your politics are, and I'm not obviously looking to get into that, the speech he gave was incredible. Incredible speech, just hyping up the Knicks fans. You can tell that he is somebody that really does love the Knicks and really he has followed the history of this team, and I think genuinely is excited for their championship. But it also is a reminder that it's been a while since the Lakers have had a parade. And obviously 2020 they won a championship, but they weren't able because of the pandemic to have a parade. So today was a reminder that the offseason is truly underway. We've got the draft coming up next week on Tuesday. For some reason, I don't know why I keep thinking it's Thursday. It's actually on Tuesday. I got an email from the Lakers today about a media watch party they're going to have heading up to the 25th pick. So that's underway. Free agency begins June 30th, 3 p.m. local time. So a lot coming up. And one of the first things Dave McMenamin brought up in his piece, it began with Luka. It was a piece about 5 questions for the offseason. It began with Luka. He noted that Luka is now recovered from the calf injury that kept him out of the playoffs. Per McMenamin's piece, quote, Doncic is finally healthy as he begins his offseason training, cleared for basketball activities May 28th, about 2.5 weeks after the series against the Thunder finished. Sources close to Doncic told ESPN he is in full go mode, one source said. Also, and this is interesting because Luka has talked, he's done some overseas interviews, like Spanish-speaking and European media outlets, talking about the offseason. But in Dave's piece, quote, while the 27-year-old Doncic is preparing for another season squarely in his prime, he has made one roster preference clear to Pelinka and Redick, source said. It's the same one he made in the days after he arrived in Los Angeles 16 months ago. Luka's first and foremost desire is an A-list center, the source said. And that's interesting because it's also coming on the heels of Luka talking with the media outlet Marca, Spanish-speaking media outlet, and said that he thought last season, 2026, was a bad season because they didn't win a championship. He said, quote, I think it's bad. Whenever you don't win, it's a bad season. So if you don't win, it's not a good one. I think this offseason, very important. I think every summer is important, and this one a little more so too. By the way, how's that for the Mamba mentality? Nico Harrison, who after trading Luka Doncic, part of the whispers coming out from Dallas's camp was some doubts about Luka having the proper Mamba mentality. Luka coming out and saying that any season where they don't win a championship, not good enough. It's a bad season, so eat that, Nico. But again, he also said in a different overseas interview that a big man who can run, pick and roll, and jump, so I can pass to him. So centers very much top of mind for Luka Doncic, which is not a surprise, between the pick and roll that he loves to run, the lob threats that he likes to utilize, and also, frankly, the back line of defense that I think Luka needs. I mean, great centers can help any team, but in particular, a team that is built around Luka Doncic, who I think is better defensively than his reputation, but he is not a defensive force, or he's not even somebody you look for to count on defensively. So you're going to need that. How they go about getting a center, I think, is going to be really interesting because there are no obvious approaches. Do you attempt to throw big money at a restricted free agent like Walker Kessler, who there have been some reports of discontent between him and the Utah Jazz over not getting an extension last year. Tim McMahon from ESPN reported an offer of 5 years, 140, put in front of Kessler, and Kessler's camp said, nope, not good enough. Although Walker Kessler has also put out a post on Instagram attempting to refute the idea that he's got issues with the Jazz. Could you throw big money at Jalen Duren, who there's also reports that he and the Pistons are pretty apart on their negotiations, especially after a very underwhelming postseason for Jalen Duren on the heels of an all-NBA season. I would love to see the Lakers get either one of those guys, but you're going to have to risk an overpayment. Could you potentially trade for Jared Allen, Nick Claxton, Wendell Carter Jr., Yves Missi, who I think Pelicans' young center, I don't know yet if he's a starter, but if you believe in his upside, could you go after an unrestricted free agent like Robert Williams or Mitchell Robinson, who could be available, but they're more backups, I think, than proven starters? Could Isaiah Hartenstein be available? I doubt the Thunder would decline his team option, but were he available, he could be a very, very helpful player for the Lakers. There's no easy route for the Lakers to get this center that Luka wants, but it's very clear, and we saw the way the Lakers leapt to try to trade for Mark Williams, the deal that was eventually rescinded. They recognize the need for that center and that desire for a center, and it'll be very interesting to see how they go about doing this, but Luka is starting to make it clear what he wants. So how will that affect the team building this offseason? How also could it potentially affect the Lakers draft? They maybe have an opportunity to draft, if not a starting center for the present, maybe Luka's center or a center partner for the next several years. I'm going to ask Mike Garcia, NBA draft expert. You follow him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. His thoughts on the centers that could be available, but also just this draft in general. Again, take some calls, 877-710-ESPN. Mike Garcia coming up next. Destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN.
The biggest moments in sports happen on ESPN LA.
And you know the biggest moments in sports on ESPN LA, made possible by Hard Rock Casino Tajon.
Tip it good for the lead with 1.2 seconds to go. OG Anunoby.
Take the easy drive from downtown LA to Hard Rock Casino Tajon. From slots and table games, every moment brings something new. Take it all in. Join Unity by Hard Rock and earn rewards worldwide. Hard Rock Casino Tajon. Play every moment. Must be 21 years of age or older. Gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When's the last time payroll was the easy part of your week? With Gusto, it can be. Gusto is the all-in-one platform designed to take the hassle out of managing your team, from payroll and compliance to hiring, onboarding, and more. With Gusto, you can get back 2 full days each month with all the time you've saved. Go to gusto.com today and learn why over 500,000 small businesses choose Gusto. That's GUSTO.com. Gusto.com.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
DraftKings Sports is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, California. The whole world is watching one tournament right now. Group stage chaos, knockout drama, stoppage time heartbreak. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in California. So whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every single minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in California, the world's biggest stage is in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with code LA710, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards. That's code LA710 in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends June 28th. Terms, dkng.co/predictions promo.
Join Beto Duran Thursday and Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa as the United States takes on Turkey in one of the summer's biggest matches. Rock your team colors and join fellow fans for an unforgettable match day experience. Enjoy nonstop game day energy, drink specials, surprise giveaways, and incredible food like fire-grilled asada tacos, quesadilla, fresh ceviches, and warm churros. Watch the match, celebrate every moment, and cheer with the entire Mercado. Mercado Gonzalez, where every match tastes better.
Destination for LA Sports. Andy Kamenetsky got a lot of people joining us today. We're going to talk to Mike Trudell around 6:30. He was supposed to be in with me today, but his little guy, his 5-year-old, broke his arm, so he had to stay back, but he's going to check in with us, let us know how his boy is, and also get some thoughts on the Lakers and Team USA and all that stuff. We'll be joined by Anthony Irwin at 7 o'clock, talk some more Lakers. Blake Harris, 7:30 to talk Dodgers. But right now, I am joined by, dare I say, my primary go-to for all things NBA draft. He is an expert whose work I've been following for years. You can follow him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. He is Mike Garcia. He's got a Substack called Lakers Draft Scouting that you should be reading, subscribing, following his work. Mike, how are you, man?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I mean, it's funny. I said before, for some reason, I have thought for like the last 3 weeks that the draft is next Thursday. It's actually Tuesday. So we're really getting up on this, man. Like we are down to the wire with the Lakers and things they got to figure out. And before we get into some specifics involving the Lakers and names, we've heard so much about how talented this draft class is at the top. But what about towards the bottom where the Lakers are with the 25th pick? Like broadly, do you think there's enough talent where the Lakers, should they keep this pick, could have a real option in front of them of a good player?
There's definitely great options around the late first. What I like about this particular draft is, for whatever reason, all of the good centers have kind of fallen into that general area between the 20 and 30 range.
Yes!
So that bodes very well.
Yes! Talking my language, Mike. Why do you think that is?
It's just an unusual draft. It's top heavy. There's arguably, if you consider draft history, 4 number ones at the top. And then in the lottery, there's like 5 point guards that would be considered lottery players. And that just pushed all the other positions all the way down. So the center depth is really there, honestly, from the late first, even into the mid-second round.
Wow. Well, I have been very obviously who the Lakers take will depend on who is available, but it sounds like you agree with me that at the very least, if center is not their first priority, it's a position that they need to be thinking about and that there could be options in front of them.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I would love everyone to be a lob threat. I would love everyone to be a great three-point shooter. I would love everyone to be a great defender. And sometimes not all of that is possible in the later round, but it is possible to find players that provide certain qualities that can be developed and potentially become future starters down the line.
Speaking of which, and last question I have before we start talking specific names, do you think that there are players the Lakers can get that could help this season, like be in the rotation? I don't mean like a 25 to 30 minute role. That's not realistic, but 8, 10, 12 minutes, like a legitimate 10th man role, but that's something that's important for the Lakers.
There are 4 guys that come to mind around the Laker pick that have kind of been my favorites. I would argue 2 of them I would see as NBA ready for a shift to a game this upcoming season.
All right, and we're talking with Mike Garcia. He's an NBA draft expert. You can follow him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. You should also subscribe to his Substack, Lakers Draft Scouting. Andy Kamenetsky, destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN. I'm going to start throwing out some names that I've seen mocked to the Lakers, and you can tell me what you think of them. The first one is a center out of UConn, Terrace Reed Jr. He is a legit center, like legit big dude, 6'10", about 260. There's a lot about him that I have found pretty intriguing.
Yeah, he's a physical player. If fans are familiar with Day'Ron Sharpe, he kind of resembles that level of size and athleticism. He sets screens well. He rebounds well. He's a pretty good rim protector. He has good touch in the paint. And I think even more importantly, because he played for such a top-ranked school, he's played in multiple defensive coverages out of pick and roll. He understands what a hard hedge is, what it means to trap, what it means to drop. And even on the offensive end, they play very sophisticated offensive sets. And he's been a decision maker and a playmaker within that half-court set. So he'd be a great choice at the Lakers pick.
Is he somebody that you think if they drafted, he could find a role this season?
I would anticipate it solely because he's had the exposure of playing different kinds of offensive schemes and defensive coverages. It's familiar to him, and I would expect it to for him to be natural executing that out on the NBA floor.
Another guy that has been mocked a lot to the Lakers is, and I apologize, well, he's not going to hear it, but if I butcher his name at all, Henry Vassar.
Yes, Henry Vassar.
He is a center from UNC. From what I've understood, he's a legit 7-footer, but kind of a different player than Reed. Is that correct?
He's definitely more of a finesse center, but what he doesn't have in physicality, he makes up with outright skill. He's the only center in that general area of the draft that is capable of being a rim-level lob threat, which is, of course, what we're looking for Luka. Great. And then at the same time, he shot over 40% behind the arc, and it wasn't one of those things where he just took one attempt a game. He took 3 attempts a game, hit over 40%, took them at diagonals of the court, including dead ahead, and looked comfortable setting into the shot. On top of that, like Reed, he was also a playmaker and kind of a hub of the offense at the elbows of the key. So it would hypothetically, if he was drafted, it would give Luka more than one option than just being a pick and roll guy and then a lob threat. It's, maybe we could space out the defense a little bit and maybe he can make a pass and find an off-ball cutter. That's what he would excel at.
Another guy that you think could potentially play some minutes this season?
When he measured at the combine, he measured at 227 pounds, which is awfully light. And knowing his history, this is coming off of him kind of gaining weight considerably after his first couple years in college. I have mild skepticism about him having another 10 or 15 pounds so immediately. But further down the line, I do expect him to be adequate center size, like around 240 and 250, and still retain his athletic ability along with his skill set.
Talking with Mike Garcia. You know him on Twitter at Canyon Driver, NBA draft expert, Andy Kamenetsky, destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN. Chris Senick, power forward center from Houston, younger guy. He's a freshman. I've seen him also mocked to the Lakers as well. What do you think of him?
I think that he has very special physical tools, and as a young player, sometimes, they're inexperienced. They don't always know what to do with how to react to certain defensive coverages or how to apply themselves more assertively on offense. And then I've seen that throughout the season, some relative inconsistency on both ends of the floor. But the physical tools are there. He's basically 6'10 plus in shoes. He's got a 7'5 wingspan. He has a standing reach over 9 feet. And if he understands what to do, right, if he understands what to do, like, I need to hard hedge of pick and roll, I need to trap a guy, or I need to back off and then exhibit drop coverage, he can do all of those things. It's just a matter of how quickly does it get to it? Does he make the right decision when he's doing those coverages? That kind of thing. So I wouldn't expect him to contribute immediately, but down the line, if there was an emphasis on his development, because physically. I mean, I think he's around 240, 250 pounds as a 19-year-old already.
Oh.
Like, that's the kind of guy that, resembles what the Lakers would look for. It might just take a while to actually get there.
Moving on to some of the wings that I've seen mocked to the Lakers. Dalen Swain, wing from Texas. What's your thoughts on him?
So Swain is a different kind of player where his first couple years in college, he was more of a roaming power forward, switching defensively and being more of a rebounder and defensive player. And then for Texas this past year, he just became this default number one playmaker. Like, he ran the offense and started running all of the pick and rolls. He improved his pull-up three-point percentage. I would think it's around 34%. He was really dominant getting into the paint and then finishing at the rim. So my skepticism lies in the idea of, well, can he be that defensive player that the Lakers need, especially if the touches go down? Or is he the player that, oh no, he wants to lead the offense a little bit, run things a little bit, and then just kind of dictate things on the offensive end? And usually when players get that kind of usage, the defense falls behind. And I'm not sure if that's what the Lakers are specifically looking for, but he's a very talented player, athletic, dribble, pass, shoot type, and he'd be a great wing if everything worked out.
Joshua Jefferson, Iowa State University forward, is another guy I've seen come up in some mocks for the Lakers. What do you think of him?
He's one of my favorite players because his superpower is basically natural high-level feel and IQ. When I watch his tape, he knows how to execute more complicated defensive schemes. He knows how to rotate and not miss a beat. When we think of athleticism, we always think of quickness, speed, leaping ability, but sometimes it's instantaneously knowing what to do and then just doing that immediately. That's what Jefferson does. He's a pass, dribble, shoot wing, a power wing at that, because he's over 250 pounds. So he's got some muscle to him. And most of the time for Iowa State, he ran the offense, and there are some clever passes where he's hitting teammates for shooters under the basket, just hitting cutters all the time. Shooting could improve. He's basically a mid 30% three-point shooter, but I do appreciate that his free throw rate, so over half of his field goal attempts will have a free throw attached at 50% rate. He's aggressive attacking the rim. He's kind of a bully ball player, and I really do appreciate that out of his game too.
Well, also too, I mean, really quick, I would think too that if, say, even mid-30s from behind the arc translated to the NBA, it obviously doesn't wow you, but maybe it could signal enough off-ball utility on a team with Luka and presumably Austin, maybe LeBron, at least for the next year, where he could have something to do if the ball's not in his hands and he can still contribute.
Yeah, that's what I like about his game. He knows where to place himself within the offense. If he needs to set a screen on offense and then find a way to make himself a threat, he's going to find a way to do that. If he needs to make himself a defensive player, his steal rate and block rates were over 3% each, which is actually really good for a college player. It usually translates to 1.5 steals and 1.5 blocks per game in 36 to 40 minutes of play, something like that. So he doesn't need the basketball in order to make himself effective, and he has good awareness as a defensive player overall. He's a solid rebounder as well. So it's just one of those things where even if he's a jack of all trades, well, he's a two-way jack of all trades, and he has strength to his game. I like that kind of guy. I like that kind of guy in the playoffs, especially when the physicality levels up later in the season.
Maybe not an exact apples-to-apples comp, and this is just off the top of my head, so if it's way off, feel free to tell me if it's way off. But the way you're talking about him, it sounds a little bit Lamar Odom me. Is that completely off base?
Lamar Odom was a little bit more ball dominant,
okay,
but it is kind of the same general idea. It's hard to explain, but when I've seen him play, it's like even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's examining what's going on in the half-court set. And if the pass ends up in his hands, he knows what to do with it immediately and how the play should continue on. One of the struggles with the Laker team is they would run a pick and roll, and their offense would start with 17 seconds on the clock, and it's always a bad shot at the end of the clock. And I'm looking forward to a team that can run a secondary or a third action within the offense. And because he's a dribble pass shoot wing with power, and, he's not easily dislodged. I'm hoping that he could be the kind of decision maker to help facilitate that part of the offense.
I got a couple more minutes with you, Mike, talking with Mike Garcia. You can follow him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. He is one of my favorite NBA draft experts out there. You should subscribe to his Substack, Lakers Draft Substack. Is there anybody that we have not discussed that you think could end up falling to the Lakers that you find intriguing?
So there's a player named Zuby Ejiofor who plays for St. John's. He doesn't strike as an immediate target for the Lakers because he's kind of a jack of all trades, small ball 5. I think he's 6'9" inch shoes, 7'2" wingspan, 8'11" standing reach. But the thing about his game is he plays with a lot of force on both ends of the floor. So if he's operating as a hub and he has a mismatch, he's driving to the hoop. His free throw rate is somewhere between 60 to 70% for every shot attempt that he has, which is outrageously high.
Wow.
Right. Exactly. So the thing that he needs to work on is being a consistent threat, because his offensive game is more opportunistic as opposed to, him dictating the drive. It's, the defense has a weakness. I'm going to do this thing. And right now he's a high 20s, low 30% three-point shooter, and I know he's working on it, and I know it's slowly getting better. But the best part about his game is his defense. And at that height, maybe you're not thinking, defensive anchor. But what there is here's a big that can switch onto any position on the floor. Point guard, big wing, whatever it might be. And he has no problem defending that as a switch. And I know that's one of the key ingredients to the Lakers defense, switchability on defense. And when offensive players try to drive and then attack his chest, he just absorbs the contact and then doesn't get dislodged. And people or basketball players that drive against him really get kind of frustrated because he'll try to stab away at the hand a little bit or deter the drive a little bit, and then it's a contest on the shot. So he's a really high-level defender that I also really like.
Last question for you. In a perfect but realistic world, the Lakers keep this pick. Who would make Mike Garcia most happy if they took?
I know you're asking for one particular player. I like all four of these guys. I'm waiting.
I love it.
Hedge your bets.
Hedge your bets.
It's not just that. It's an unusually deep draft. And then this is what I was referring to with, a lot of talent fell to around the Lakers pick. So if it's the same general tier of talent, it's kind of one of those things where, what are the Lakers looking for? And it's through the lens of Tony Bennett. And I know he's looking for high character, high skill, high IQ. And, Zuby Ejiofor passes that. Joshua Jefferson passes that. Taurus Reed passes that. And even Henry Besar passes that. So it's like, now I have choices. What does Luka want? What does the front office see as the team moving forward? But if I'm picking a guy, Zuby's defense today, it's really incredible. It's worth watching. So I wouldn't mind if the Lakers took him at all.
He is Mike Garcia. He is an NBA draft expert, one of my go-to guys. You can follow him on Twitter at Canyon Driver. Subscribe to his Substack, Lakers Draft Substack. I'm sure I and others are going to be calling you after the Lakers make their selection. Get your take on whoever that player is. As always, brother, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And coming up next, we are going to be joined by another Mike. His last name is Trudell. And we're going to find out what happened to his young boy with the broken arm and also get some of his thoughts on the Lakers, a team he knows inside and out. Little World Cup, that's all coming up next. Destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN.
It's DeMarco Farr and Travis Rogers for your afternoon drive.
Holy blank.
Unbelievable.
Miles Garrett?
Yep. Blank them picks.
Yeah. Damn right. I don't even care what they sent out.
You're right.
No. You know what I mean? The first thing was, wait, we got Miles Garrett. My first thought wasn't, what did we give up? It was, let's go.
DeMarco and Travis have taken over Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 3 p.m. on 710 ESPN.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
When's the last time payroll was the easy part of your week? With Gusto, it can be. Gusto is the all-in-one platform designed to take the hassle out of managing your team, from payroll and compliance to hiring, onboarding, and more. With Gusto, you can get back 2 full days each month with all the time you have saved. Go to gusto.com today and learn why over 500,000 small businesses choose Gusto. That's Gusto.com. Gusto.com.
John Ireland here. You want a vodka that's championship caliber? Look for Blue Ice Vodka at Ralph's, America's largest potato vodka. Double gold rated, just 64 calories an ounce. Classic, Huckleberry, or double espresso. Blue Ice Vodka. Vodka with standards.
4th of July weekend checklist. Sunscreen? Check. Snacks? Check. Road trip playlist? Check. Now, when's the last time you checked your oil? Before you hit the road, head to Valvoline Instant Oil Change for a fast 15-minute stay-in-your-car oil change, and no appointment is ever needed. Plus, they'll check your fluids, battery, wipers, and more, so you can worry less about your car and focus more on the weekend ahead. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for a special offer and your nearest location. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Quick, easy, and road trip approved.
Keep it right here for the very best coverage of the 2026 NBA Draft. All your ESPN LA Draft coverage is driven by your SoCal Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit your SoCal Hyundai dealer today.
Little Tribe Called Quest means just one thing. I'm either being joined by Michael Funches or I'm being joined by Mike Trudell, and it is the latter. Everyone knows Mike Trudell. He is part of the station. He is also part of Spectrum Sportsnet LA, their Lakers coverage. And also today, I guess you were playing kind of makeshift doctor, Mike. How are you doing?
One second. He's still getting on the line.
Oh, okay. I thought we had Trudell. My apologies. We're going to be joined by Mike Trudell in just a second. The music was just such a signal for Mike Trudell. I figured that he was there. I actually, because Mike is a very great, kind guy, I actually own a Tribe Called Quest shirt that Mike Trudell gifted to me because he knows that I'm a fan. He had a spare, and Funchy was actually quite jealous that he didn't get this shirt. Unfortunately, it was, I think, too small for Funchy, or unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, because I got this shirt, and it is awesome. Mike Trudell now actually joining us. Mike, how are you, man? It's been a whirlwind of a day for you.
Oh, man. Andy, first of all, thank you for handling things at the station. We were supposed to hang out together, as we used to back in the day. And so I'm at the World Cup game, and it's a great game. Well, not right now. I'm saying, yeah. I was like, so I'm at the World Cup game, and Switzerland it basically takes control of the game, and there's a red card, and all of a sudden it's just goals everywhere. And they score 3 goals in the final 10 minutes. They win 4-1. There were a bunch of super nice Swiss dudes next to me in our section that were just losing their minds the whole time, so that was fun. And I've got the twins with me. They're 11, and my wife, and we have our youngest, Riggs, who is 5, at home with a babysitter. One of our trusted great babysitters. And as we did the thing where you take a bus and then they basically bring you right close to the to SoFi, so you don't have to worry about the parking, and then you get back in the bus and shuttle back to your car. And so we parked in Culver City, and so we get on the bus and we get out of there super smooth, and then right when we're in the middle of traffic, I get a phone call, and as you've, I'm sure, experienced at least one time before, Andy, you do not want to get a phone call from the babysitter. You would text are great, right? Anything like that, photos are great, but you do not want the phone call. So I pick up the phone, and we're kind of standing room only bus, and the poor babysitter says Riggs had a really bad fall at the park on the monkey bars, and I think he broke his arm.
Oh,
and so we're standing room only in the middle of this bus. We're about 20 minutes away from getting to our car. And then from that point, right, we know it's going to be at least 30 minutes, or ideally it's 20, but it's probably going to be 30 minutes to get from where we're at to our place in the South Bay. And so she had called 911 just to make sure it wasn't worst case scenario. So then the paramedic comes on the phone, and I'm trying to decipher this while my wife is looking at me like, what's going on? And I'm like, how do I calmly say our 5-year-old broke his arm? We cannot get to him right now because we are trapped in a bus. And it was not great. It was not great. High stress moment. Usually it's like, I don't know if it's like this in your family, Eddie. It's like one of us needs to stay calm. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to stay calm. We're going to manage the situation. So the paramedic comes on the phone and he's like it's a bad one. And I'm like, okay, great. And later, so by the way, spoiler alert, because I know there are folks out there that are very sweet and thinking of my little one. He's fine. It was a wrist fracture, kind of like a lower arm.
I mean, I think, Mike, everyone figured out that he's fine just because you're calling me now. Yeah, I would like to think that if this really was serious,
survived.
You wouldn't have carved out time for the phone hit.
That's true. Although it was pretty sad, like, cause he was in a lot of pain and we were like on the phone with him trying to distract him. But like I'll show you the x-ray later. I'm sure Dr. Clapper will have some thoughts on it, but it was at like a 90-degree angle, the fracture. So it was, it's one of those where like, if it were on TV, they probably would have not shown it. Right? They would have turned away. And so thankfully, though, the paramedics, they put it in kind of a temporary sling, and we just stayed on the phone with a babysitter. I also want to shout out one of our really close friends, Alyssa and Matt. They live close by, and we were just like, we need more people there to comfort him. So they raced over and hung out with him it took us about, probably 40 minutes from the time of the call to actually get there. And I was trying to tell the twins, I'm like, guys, do not drive like this when you get older, okay? We're passing people in the express lane, Andy. We're veering over, taking exits that shouldn't have been taken. And Andy was like, anyway, it was chaos. But we get there, and we thankfully another friend of ours sent us to an orthopedic surgeon who happened to be in his office in Manhattan Beach, which was like 10 minutes from where we were at. And so we're like, instead of going to the ER, we're going to go there. And once he saw him, he looked at the x-rays. He was like, all right, I'm going to have to reduce this, which, okay, Eddie, vision. Picture this. No.
Where does the Oreo come in, Mike?
Well, if you think about the Sistine Chapel, okay? No, shout out to Dr. Clapper. He's the best.
He is the best. I actually told him that recently, that the Oreo I discovered the last time I was talking with Dr. Clapper, and he was using the visual of an Oreo. I was like, it's the most medical cookie ever. Because at least 75% of Clapper's explanations involve an Oreo, and it always makes sense. I'm like, wow.
It does. It does. Well, frankly, I almost called Dr. Clapper, but I knew that it would take a while longer to drive out his way from where we were at. So anyway, long story short, the doctor has to reduce the fracture, which basically means like reset it. So he has to snap it back first to out of the 90-degree position, and then he has to snap it again in the other direction to set it. And this is not like an easy thing to do, especially with a kid. A lot of times people would have a kid be, put to sleep for this temporarily, of course. And but the other doctor that I was on the phone with, my best friend from home, was like, you don't want to wait on this one, with the nerves and all the other things. You need to set the bone as fast as you can. And so he was able to do that, thankfully, unfortunately at the expense of a lot of pain of the 5-year-old and the screams coming out. And he did happen to call the doctor the B word when he did it, which it was a nice moment of sort of needed levity for the rest of us in the room. I don't know if the doctor was thrilled. Yeah, you. And I was like, it's okay, Riggs. We're gonna give you a pass on that one. And
there's been a whole day, Mike, of you parenting with "Don't ever do this, kids. Don't ever do this.
Exactly.
Don't take in anything that is happening right now as habit forming. Don't do any of this."
And look, and did he learn that from me watching a Vikings game in the fall? Perhaps. Maybe that's where you heard that word.
Mike, along these lines, when my daughter, she's 15 now, but I'm guessing she was anywhere from 3 to 5, something like that, maybe 6. I was in a different room watching SC football game, and all of a sudden I'm yelling, "Run the effing ball. It's not that effing complicated." And from this other room, I hear my daughter go, "Daddy, you just said the most powerful word." I was like, yeah. So they hear all of this. I feel for you because, like you in my household, I am the one that is forced to be the calm one over everything that ever happens. Like in this situation, my wife would have been an absolute, she'd be the first to admit it. She'd be a hysterical mess. So I'm the one that has to stay calm. It's not easy to stay calm in this situation.
No, and honestly, the worst part about it was just that we couldn't get to him, right? It was like there was literally nothing in the world that we could do to get to him right away, and that's all you really want. You just want to be there to comfort your kid, and so that was a tough blow. And it's like, oh well, maybe Dad should have gotten 5 World Cup tickets instead of 4. But anyway, so he's upstairs. I just left the CVS and bought like 13 different types of candy. And panini cards to put on his World Cup poster. That made him happy. He got a Happy Meal on the way home. So he's actually, he's in pretty good position now. He got several of the things that he wants. It'll probably be like a 4 to 6 week thing, and he didn't hit his head. So, look, it's people I know every day have stuff far worse. So we're glad he's all right. It was a little bit of a stressful day. And, you guys are also lucky, though, because you get more Andy and more guests instead of me blabbing on about whatever I was going to blab on about. Probably trying to talk about the World Cup as much as I could have with Andy, maybe trying to sneak some Laker stories in there.
I was going to ask you, actually, right now, by the way, Mexico, South Korea, it's almost 47 minutes in, still 0-0. And I was saying to Wilbur earlier, I drive through Koreatown, which has a very high Mexican-American and Korean-American population, plus just Mexican immigrants, Korean immigrants. That is El Tráfico, my friend. Like, that was brutal getting through. It looked like everybody was having an incredible time. There was like a street festival set up. I saw 3 or 4 different bars and restaurants with lines like around a block. Like, it looks like everyone's going to be going off tonight. But, I was going to ask you this, Mike, actually. Given like the I don't know, like ethnic demographics of Los Angeles and it being such a diverse city, and in particular, so much Mexican population, Korean population, do you think the city, if you had to guess, is more caught up in a game like Mexico-South Korea, or I guess any other matchup involving 2 countries that have a pretty strong representation in LA, or Team USA playing?
Oh, good question. It's probably the former, right? I mean, I think just Mexico alone, to me is because, there are a lot of, even somebody like me, who was obviously a huge soccer fan. I grew up playing soccer. I played soccer for many years. I also am a fan of several other sports teams, right? The Vikings, now the Lakers, the Dodgers here in LA, the Twins, the Timberwolves growing up. It's various. I watch all kinds of sports, right? And I think in Mexico, and this is the way that for at least a certain percentage of my friends that are either Mexican or of Mexican American heritage, soccer is just so much higher. And then maybe boxing gets in there, but like the Mexican national team is number 1, and there isn't a close number 2, right? Whereas for me, it's like, okay, maybe I'll say Manchester United is 1, or the Vikings are 1, or the Twins are whatever the correlation is. So I think the degree to which soccer matters in Mexico, even relative to a soccer fan in America, I think that El Tri probably takes the cake there. And then, I mean, I don't know. So the Korean population, and obviously there's Koreatown, and there's a ton of that here as well. You could probably replace with a couple of other nations as well with big populations in LA, but or just like USA, Mexico. But I think that El Tri, the team itself, and I think it's 0-0 right now, last I checked. Yeah, 0-0. That probably would be number 1 for me, Andy, if you're asking me about LA.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of dawned on me again because I was driving through just a ton of traffic getting to the station. But just like this, Koreatown is also one of the biggest enclaves in this city, like particularly when you're talking about like, say, Little Tokyo or Chinatown, right, or, all the different ethnic enclaves. Like Koreatown is massive. It's really, really big. It's bigger than a lot of other areas in LA. And, it's not entirely a Korean population, but it's obviously a sizable. And then, we were talking about before, LA obviously has a huge Mexican and Mexican American population as well. Like, I was like, you know what? I wonder if this city in particular, and maybe you need to go to somewhere like New York where you could have that type of comp. This may be one of the few places where a matchup like Mexico versus Korea could actually be bigger than Team USA, even if LA would get into Team USA.
Well, so Andy, just to underscore your point, which I think is accurate even further, if you put a Team USA game in Los Angeles or in San Diego or in Phoenix, to basically take anywhere along the Mexican border, any of the Texas cities, you will get a far bigger population of fans in the stadium for El Tri than you will for Team USA. And what you find, what happens instead, like let's say it's a game where, like, if it's a Gold Cup game or like something that has stakes and isn't just a friendly, and the U.S. gets to schedule it, they are scheduling it as far away from the border as they can. Like, we're talking about Columbus, Ohio, or Detroit, right? Or like you can't even really do it in Chicago because there's such a big Mexican population there as well. So they're really trying to get to as far away from these types of places as you can. And if Team USA and Mexico were to meet like later in this tournament, and I think it's unlikely based on the way that the brackets are set, but if they were and the game were in LA, I mean, I don't know exactly. My guess would be like 80-20, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. No, maybe 70-30. But I would love to just experience obviously I'm rooting for Team USA, but there's just something intoxicating about the Mexican fan base, about the way that they support their team, about what it means to them.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to experience something like that for sure.
Last thing for you, does Little Rigs have a cast?
So not yet. So they had to put it in a splint, right? Because it's still too swollen right now for the cast. So we'll go back tomorrow, and depending on the level of swelling, they'll either keep it in the splint, and then they'll eventually get him a cast. And he's excited for that, though, because we told him that he can pick out the color. He can, I told him that he's got a couple of girlfriends, and so I told him he can decide who he's going to let sign first, and maybe that creates a little bit of jealousy, which isn't the worst thing, right? So that's where we're at with the cast, and he's already looking forward to getting it signed.
Okay, you're already ahead of where I was going to tell you. Make sure to play up the excitement about this cast, make it a big deal. Then before you know it, he's going to be upset that his arm and his wrist is eventually fixed. He's going to be bummed out by that. All right, get back to your kid, Mike. I appreciate you calling in, man, and give my best to everybody. And I feel bad also too for the twins that had their day kind of messed up by this.
Oh no, they're good. Dude, first of all, they're at baseball practice right now, so they're good. Yeah, I
already forgotten about.
So after
this.
I went to get Riggs some. Well, it was a little hard for them to kind of see us upset, but once they knew that he was good, then they were like, all right, we got to get back so we can get ready for baseball. So I'm gonna go pick them up. And thank you again for holding things down at the station for me, Andy.
De nada, man. Best to you and the family, and I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy. See ya.
All right, Mike Trudell holding down what's been a chaotic day with his family. Coming up, talk a little bit more Lakers before we actually shift into even more Lakers at 7 o'clock with Anthony Irwin from the Lakers Lounge podcast, destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN.
In a contracting business, you're either growing or you're grinding. Success is no longer about hard work alone. It's about using AI to accelerate impact. ServiceTitan is the only integrated intelligence that seamlessly automates your entire workflow, from first call to final invoice. Born in the trades, built for visionaries ready to stop operating and start automating. ServiceTitan, AI for the trades.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This summer's biggest football watch party experience is happening at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa. Catch every Mexico and USA match live, surrounded by nonstop game day energy, passionate fans, drink specials, surprise giveaways, grab fire asada tacos, slow braised quesadilla, fresh ceviches, warm churros, and more while you cheer on your team with the entire Mercado. Mercado Gonzalez, your soccer fan paradise this summer. Join us every Mexico and USA match at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa, where every match tastes better.
One of LA's best kept secrets in the heart of Los Angeles, East Central Hotel offers effortless accommodations and unparalleled accessibility. The East Central Hotel is for everyone looking for entertainment with their trendy spacious rooms, a renovated gym, and a patio lounge for breakfast, dinner, and drinks. Stop by their incredible Nixo Lounge before your next event at LA Live. Book your stay at eastcentralhotel.com or call 213-748-1291 today at Entertainment's official address.
Little Higher Ground by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Noted Los Angeles Lakers fans. Thanks again to Mike Garcia and Mike Trudell for joining us in the first hour. We're going to be joined in just a few minutes by Anthony Irwin, who hosts the Lakers Lounge podcast, also covers the Lakers for the Offsides app. Get his thoughts on an offseason that is about to hit overdrive and some both comments from Luka Doncic overseas and also some reports about Luka Doncic, what he wants to see this offseason, namely a center added to the team. It would be very interesting to see how the Lakers go about doing that. Then at 7:30, going to talk with Blake Harris, covers the Dodgers. He's got a great Substack called Thinking Blue with Blake Harris. Going to get his perspective on how the Dodgers have managed to maintain the best record in baseball despite the injuries that they've had, despite few players, pretty key names, Mookie Betts, I think kind of quietly, Will Smith, underperforming. They just keep this going, and also the injury status of some of these guys, because if there's one thing I think we're starting to see, even before Mark Walter and his group purchased the Lakers, if you're looking for some degree of synergy between these organizations, it's that I never believe a word that either one says when it comes to an injury update. Because you may recall Dave Roberts, and look, Dave Roberts is a company man. He's not an actual doctor. He's just repeating the company line that he's told. Said that he did not think Will Smith would ever end up on the injured list with the neck issue that he's dealing with right now. Cut to tomorrow, the first day that Will Smith will be eligible to return from the injured list, and Dave Roberts said he did not think Will Smith would be available tomorrow. Maybe things change by tomorrow. The Dodgers taking on the Orioles for a weekend series, but we went from don't think he'll be on the IL to, yeah, he may be on the IL a little longer. So, again, that's just the way things work. But I do want to find out from Blake Harris just how the Dodgers have managed been doing this, and also get some thoughts on Shohei Ohtani, who's had a couple rougher starts dealing with the blister, all that stuff. But again, coming up next, going to talk with Anthony Irwin, Lakers Lounge podcast, covers the Lakers to the Offsides app. That's next. Destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN.
Harry Douglas here to help you get in on the sweet life with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. It's that classic throwback cotton candy flavor, but with zero sugar and a 5-hour energy boost. I keep these with me so I can tackle that sweet tooth with a tasty caffeine kick and no guilty sugary aftermath. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy shots. Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
4th of July weekend checklist. Sunscreen? Check. Snacks? Check. Road trip playlist? Check. Now, when's the last time you checked your oil? Before you hit the road, head to Valvoline Instant Oil Change for a fast 15-minute stay-in-your-car oil change, and no appointment is ever needed. Plus, they'll check your fluids, battery, wipers, and more, so you can worry less about your car and focus more on the weekend ahead. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for a special offer and your nearest location. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Quick, easy, and road trip approved.
Looking for a vodka with standards? Blue Ice delivers. American-made from Idaho potatoes, gluten-free, non-GMO, and only 64 calories an ounce. Enjoy the classic Huckleberry with lemonade or award-winning double espresso. Blue Ice vodka, premium taste, nothing extra.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.
Reeves has got it. Alley-oop to Brady. Slam dunk.
Your home.
Perfectly executed. Reeves on the alley. Bronny on the oop.
ESPN LA.
The home of Rams football. And now the home of the Rich Eisen Show.
We say every offseason is the most important offseason for the Lakers in blank amount of years, but this time around, I think everyone actually means it, and Luka Doncic has added to that sentiment. So to help me break everything down with this very pivotal, critical offseason, joined by Anthony Irwin. He covers the Lakers or the Lakers Lounge podcast, also the Offsides app. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. Very, very great source for Lakers coverage and one of my go-tos. Anthony, how are you, man?
Andy, thanks for having me. I've been making that same joke all the time. This is the latest, most important Lakers offseason in how many years, and this time we mean it.
Yeah, I know. Before we were BSing you, but I mean, honestly, now it's very difficult to think of it as anything other than pivotal when you just take into the context of the most optionality, Rob Pelinka's buzzword, that they're probably going to have for some time, as we'll talk about, Anthony. I'm not quite sure the optionality is where they want it to be or need it to be, but it is, relatively speaking, high, and Luka's in his prime. So speaking of Luka, the latest episode that I saw, at least, of the Lakers Lounge podcast, which you are the host, I am a listener, it is titled, Luka Doncic is Done Waiting. And this is on the heels of Luka telling an overseas outlet that this offseason was extremely important. A source told Dave McMenamin of ESPN for a piece that he put out today that Luka wants a center, an A-list center. We'll get into that piece of it second. Yesterday, when some of this news first broke, I didn't necessarily take this as an outward pressure campaign from Luka Doncic. Am I underreacting?
I mean, I think everything is, through the eye of the beholder. But the reason I took it as such is because of one quote in there that I thought was absolutely critical to hammer home. And that was the one at the end of the Luka Doncic section in Dave's piece. That was them saying, or the source saying, that the Lakers had told them, just wait for the summer of 26, just wait for the summer of 26, just wait for the summer of 26, and now we're here. And the reason that I find that specifically important is because that would imply, or at least I'm taking from it, that that Luka Doncic and his camp at one point were told, no, right? We would like this kind of an upgrade. We would like to make this kind of move or addition or whatever tweak, and they were told, "We'll just wait for 26. We got to hold on to our chips. We got to keep that powder dry. Just wait for the summer of 26. Giannis is going to be a free agent. Who knows how Jokic is going to feel about Denver at that time? Just wait." And that's why that was the name of my episode. Was like that signal to me they're done waiting.
That would make sense. I mean, it's interesting too because Luka doesn't necessarily have a reputation as a superstar that does a lot of forceful pressuring compared to other superstars around the league. Like that's never been Luka's rep, but at the same time, he is also hyper competitive. You know, he just watched one of his former teammates, Jalen Brunson, win a championship. He's tasted the finals, and once you get that taste, you want to get over that final hump and win that championship. So you may be right. And there's also, too, the idea of this has been promised. I am now expecting you to deliver on it.
Right. And I think the Brunson thing is important to hammer home here, that Brunson signed a free agent deal and saw greener pastures elsewhere, entrusted his organization with the pay cut that he took, and now arrived at the promised land. And you've seen the conversations across ESPN, you've seen the conversations across social media where it's like, is Jalen Brunson more valuable than Luka Doncic? Would Luka Doncic take that kind of a pay cut? What about this? And it's like, if you're Luka, and I don't think he pays any attention to that, but if you're Luka the competitor, you are saying to yourself, wait, he got one, I got to get one, right. You know, and to go from the highs of Western Conference Finals with Jalen Brunson, actual NBA Finals with Kyrie Irving, to being traded out of nowhere and then arriving in LA and being told by Rob Pelinka and the Lakers, no, just wait for the summer of 26. To me, it all kind of lines up.
In Dave McMenamin's piece, I'm talking with Anthony Irwin. He's the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast, covers the Lakers for the Offsides app. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. Destination for LA Sports, Andy Kamenetsky, 710 ESPN. There's a quote in there about Luka wanting an A-list center. Is there an A-list center that the Lakers can even semi-realistically get, if not A-minus, a solid B+? Like, how gettable an ask do you think that is?
I mean, it's interesting because if the Lakers were to go out and get Daniel Gafford, somebody who Luka was in the finals with before, I kind of wonder if that would be the guy or one of the guys that Luka would consider A-list because of the experiences that they've shared, even though most fans wouldn't really consider Daniel Gafford on that level. But you're right, as far as the centers who even could be available, right? Like Walker Kessler is a player that the Lakers, I know, like quite a bit, and Lakers fans like quite a bit, and makes a whole bunch of sense. But he played 5 games last year and has been on and off the court. You could chalk some of that up to Utah Jazz chicanery, but at the end of the day, he's a bit of a question mark. Jalen Duren is another restricted free agent who the Lakers would have to jump through all kinds of hoops to acquire. And we just saw him look pretty meh in their playoff run there in Detroit, right? And so, like, as far as A-list centers go, Rudy Gobert maybe, if Giannis goes to Minnesota, is he considered A-list? It's a weird position because a lot of times centers are kind of defined and their values are defined by the caliber of teammates that they have to set them up. And to a certain extent, Luka kind of makes A-list centers, but I think he wants somebody who he walks into a gym with and says, this guy could be an all-star in his own right. Get me a guy like that. And to your point, I don't know if those guys are necessarily available.
How much of a bat? Because if say you go after Walker Kessler or Jalen Duren, it's going to require an overpayment to some degree because they're restricted free agents, and you're not going to get Utah or Detroit to blink. Both of them, I think they're both talented, but both of them have different types of question marks. How big of a bag would you risk for either of them? Just knowing the idea that you're going to have to overpay to begin with, but there could become a point where there's a boomerang effect.
I just don't necessarily think that Jalen, like that anything, any number would make Detroit blink. The word that is coming out of Detroit is mostly that they're ready and willing to pay Jalen upwards of $30+ million a year. And that's already getting near the most that the Lakers could possibly pay him.
Right.
Kessler's an interesting test case here because so much of Utah's cap is already devoted to the front court between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. And then if Darren Peterson goes first overall and they take somebody like Cam Boozer or AJ DeBanza, like that's a very crowded group who are all going to be looking for minutes and eventually money. And so I do think there's a number that you could make Utah sweat at in that $30 to $35 million a year range. And I know it's a gamble and I know all of that stuff. I think I would be willing to make that offer, but at the very least, and this is something that I've heard a little bit about recently, at the very least, if I were the Lakers, I would go to Utah and say, look, we could do this the easy way or we could do this the hard way. We could make this kind of an offer and we can, completely screw up your books here for the foreseeable future. We know that this is a guy that you like. Kessler had that social media post the other day that felt very much like, please don't lowball me if the Lakers don't make an offer.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lakers could basically go to Utah and say, let's talk a sign and trade at a reasonable number for Walker that he would, sign off on, at a reasonable number that makes sense for us and that you wouldn't necessarily match or whatever. Let's send some draft capital. We could send whatever, if you want Dalton Connect, I guess, have at it. But this avoids the scenario where we completely screw up your books, you or you match an offer that you don't necessarily love. Let's try to work this out together. And I think that's a scenario that I could see playing out.
Talking with Anthony Irwin. He's the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. He covers the Lakers for the Offsides app. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. Where do you think things currently stand between LeBron and the Lakers? Because the news cycles, that pendulum, the mood pendulum has swung pretty wildly in terms of what's being reported.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard fairly recently that the Lakers and LeBron have been in conversations like, kind of dating back a little while. And they've been kind of trying to work out some kind of a number dating back to the season. And then there's been some kind of consistent conversation since. LeBron's been on his vacation. Rich Paul is on the record saying, that he and LeBron haven't spoken about it. But I think LeBron and his camp understand that the Lakers are working on a bit of a time crunch here. If LeBron wants anything more than the mid-level from anybody this year, he would have to work with the Lakers to get it. And that is why I think that, there have been some conversations there, at least as far as like the number that makes sense for LeBron, that isn't too offensive and makes sense for the Lakers so that they can go out and land the caliber of player that Luka is looking for. I've always thought that a return to LA made the most sense for LeBron, and that LeBron staying in LA made the most sense for the Lakers. I still feel that way. And until I hear something beyond, well, he'll do it. He'll go to Golden State. He'll do it. I'm going to continue to believe that he's going to be a Laker.
What did you make of Mark Spears' report that Kevin Love could likely join the Lakers? It's obviously one of LeBron's close friends. The two of them and other members of the 2016 Cavs, they're on a European tour reunion, living it up. There's a bunch of different ways I think you could take it, but I'm curious what you thought.
On one hand, the Lakers, like Rob Pelinka came out. It's really rare that Rob Pelinka and it will come out and just explicitly say what they're looking to do. And in this case, he said, we want to get younger. We want to get more athletic. We want to get deeper.
All boxes that Kevin Love checks.
Completely. So like on that front, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. But at the same time, if you're basically, to the point that we just made a second ago with LeBron, and you're trying to work out a number that makes sense for him, that he would be comfortable at, that everybody acknowledges is less than he is worth, both in not just in terms of basketball, but let alone in terms of raw business. If you basically say, hey, we can devote the 15th roster spot to Kevin Love in the way that it was devoted to Maxi Kleber last year, you have another golfing buddy, that you could roll along with. Would that kind of make up for the fact that you're going to be immensely underpaid next year? I could also kind of sort of see that. That would be like the last move of the offseason if the Lakers can pull it off. It would be cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I've always liked Kevin Love as a dude and UCLA guy. It makes a lot of sense for him to kind of finish his career in LA. And that'd be a really fun golf foursome between LeBron, Love, Luka, and Austin. I'd watch that podcast.
Wow. Bronny's like, hey, what about me, man? I'm better than my dad. I'm probably better than Luka. Like, what about me, man?
I would imagine that LeBron James and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves probably have the pool to get five guys on a. I
was going to say, man, you're relegating LeBron's son to the kids' table.
Well, I mean, look, if he's a playable rotation player next year for the Lakers, then he gets Kevin Love. He gets one spot above Kevin Love. How about that?
Incentivizing Bronny's growth through the links by any means necessary. Talking with Anthony Irwin, covers the Lakers for the Lakers Lounge podcast, also for the Offsides app. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. I found it the same way too, like the idea of Kevin Love being, in some respects, a thing that can help make LeBron's number more palatable, or maybe even something that directly or indirectly leads to LeBron's willingness to take less money, because it's a really tricky number, I think, Anthony, in figuring out what to do with LeBron, because he can still be additive for a Lakers team that needs to build future forward. Like, LeBron's still playing at a high level, but it's also really important that they build future forward. And it's something that I think has to be prioritized even more than what LeBron might bring for this season. So I think it's going to be a really interesting tightrope to walk.
Yeah, I think that, at the end of the day, Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, the Lakers historically have tried to treat their superstars with the utmost respect at the end of their careers, right? Kobe got that big deal post-Achilles tear. Magic was obviously a unique case, but they, brought him back when they could. Kareem got that incredible retirement tour that featured an actual rocking chair at one point. So, like, the Lakers, they try to do right, but this is such a unique case because in all of those other cases, the superstar who was coming next wasn't already on the roster, and those weren't competitive teams for the most part. And so that makes this very tricky. But what really helps is that we are fresh off of playoffs where LeBron James was the best player in a playoff series, and he did that right after assuming a small things, dive on the floor, third rung on the ladder offensively type of role in a 16-2 month before that. So to me, I mean, he's done everything that the Lakers could have possibly asked of him to this point. And I think, paying him back to a certain extent for that, I think is a really important thing, because the world of the NBA superstar is an incredibly small fraternity, and they talk about these things and how things were at the very end and who respects who, even if it's somewhat awkward. And in this case, doing that for LeBron, I think makes a whole bunch of sense. But also, Andy, try to build a Lakers roster that is better next year without LeBron James on it. I have carried out that thought experiment, and I have drawn a complete blank without going on 2K and forcing teams to take Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and Max Christie in a first-round pick type deals.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because on one hand, you're correct that it may be more difficult for them to build a 2027 roster that is better without LeBron. But depending on the opportunities in front of them, and we don't know yet what they're going to be. There are always surprises during free agency and trades and whatnot. It may be, though, more viable to create the bones of the team that is better for Luka, that is better longer without LeBron. And I think that's really where the tricky balance lies.
Yeah, and I mean, the point that Pete makes all the time when he and I talk about it on the show is that the Lakers aren't going to have the same flexibility next year.
Yep.
So replacing LeBron's production in a year that you don't have that kind of flexibility, that does get even trickier, especially if LeBron takes a step back next season. But to me, this offseason and every offseason from here on out is about maximizing the window that you have with Luka at his absolute apex, which the Lakers are going to have. And if the point of all of this is to build the best roster that you possibly can, I just don't see how you could do it without a LeBron James, especially on a contract in the 20s, which it seems like this is where this would probably kind of head. And, look around the league for the players who are going to be signing for $20 million a year next year. And it's going to be like the Tobias Harrises of the world. And I don't know, Rui Hachimura, right? Like if you walk into a gym and who would you rather have, LeBron James or Rui Hachimura making the same exact amount of money, I would still lean LeBron. So it's difficult. There is, to a certain extent, no right answer here, but this is somebody who Luka has said he really enjoys playing with. This is somebody who Austin Reeves says he really enjoys playing with. Those guys had a real rapport towards the end of the year that I would be really interested to build off of or build onto going into next season.
He is Anthony Irwin. He covers the Lakers he covers them for the Offsides app. He is the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast, tons and tons of shows he's putting out. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony Irwin LA. As always, brother, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me. Anytime, Andy.
And coming up, I want to react a little bit to what Anthony said about what to do with LeBron and this balance and how you prioritize maximizing the opportunity in front of you with Luka Doncic now, but also the overarching opportunity that you have with Luka Doncic, big picture. That's all coming up next. Blake Harris at 7:30 to talk Dodgers, ESPN LA.
Of your LA Rams. The Rams play here. KSPN, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
This summer's biggest football watch party experience is happening at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa. Catch every Mexico and USA match live, surrounded by nonstop game day energy, passionate fans, drink specials, surprise giveaways, grab fire asada tacos, slow braised quesadilla, fresh ceviches, warm churros, and more while you cheer on your team with the entire Mercado. Mercado Gonzalez, your soccer fan paradise this summer. Join us every Mexico and USA match at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa, where every match tastes better.
DraftKings Sports is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, California. The whole world is watching one tournament right now. Group stage chaos, knockout drama, stoppage time heartbreak. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in California. So whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every single minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in California, the world's biggest stage is in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with code LA710, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards. That's code LA710 in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends June 28th. Terms, dkng.co/predictions promo.
Thanks again to Anthony Irwin, the host of the Lakers Lounge podcast. And I'm going to be joined in about 4-ish minutes by Blake Harris, who covers the Dodgers, get into what's been going on with the team as they head into a weekend series with Baltimore Orioles. They're coming off the heels of very impressive, very hard-fought sweep at home against the Tampa Bay Rays, who are a quality team. And the Dodgers did not make these games look easy, but they did manage to win them all. And I'm going to talk about with Blake, they somehow constantly manage to stay on top of the NL, stay on top of baseball, despite these injuries going on and a few key faces, few key players that have been underperforming this season. Also of note, there is, I believe, a charity event that is hosted by Mookie Betts and his wife. I believe it's called the 50-50, either club or foundation, but it's Mookie's event. And none other, I just saw this photo tweeted out by the Dodger Blue account. Nicolas Cage is in attendance for this event. And I so badly need to know the backstory of this. A, because I am a massive Nicolas Cage fan. He is one of my all-time favorite actors. Anybody who is a fan of the YouTube component of my Own Name podcast knows there are a lot of Nicolas Cage GIFs used during our show, including the end. There's always a GIF of Nicolas Cage in Raising Arizona being taken out of frame by a policeman after getting his mugshot in Raising Arizona. So he's one of my favorites. He is, to the best of my knowledge, not a sports fan. Nicolas Cage is not somebody that you regularly see at Dodger games, to the best of my knowledge. I've never seen him at a Laker game, and I've been to quite literally hundreds of Laker games. I've never seen him at a sporting event, but he is playing John Madden in the upcoming Madden biopic with Christian Bale as Al Davis, directed by David O. Russell. I cannot wait to see this. I'm actually seeing right now in the comment section of the YouTube page from 55 Charger, Nick Cage will kill it in the John Madden movie. Can't wait. 1,000% agree. Cannot wait to see this. But also, I think the first time Nicolas Cage has ever been in anything even resembling a sports movie. I have seen, Nicolas Cage has made a lot of movies, and I have seen a lot of them. I don't forget the idea of a sports theme movie. I can barely recall a movie Nicolas Cage has starred in where sports even come up. The closest thing I can think of is the movie Snake Eyes, which opens at a boxing match that he's attending. That's the closest thing I can even think of Nicolas Cage involved in sports of any kind, much less attending Mookie Betts' foundation. But either way, good on him for supporting it. I wish I were there to possibly meet Nicolas Cage. And speaking of the Dodgers, coming up next, going to talk with Blake Harris, who covers the Dodgers. You can follow him on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. He's got a Substack you should be checking out. I'm going to ask him some questions about the Blue over there. 710 ESPN.
The biggest moments in sports happen on ESPN LA.
And you know the biggest moments in sports on ESPN LA, made possible by Hard Rock Casino Tajon.
Tip is good for the lead with 1.2 seconds to go. OG Anunoby.
Take the easy drive from downtown LA to Hard Rock Casino Tajon. From slots to table games, every moment brings something new. Take it all in. Join Unity by Hard Rock and earn rewards worldwide. Hard Rock Casino Tajon. Play every moment. Must be 21 years of age or older.
Gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In a contracting business, you're either growing or you're grinding. Success is no longer about hard work alone. It's about using AI to accelerate impact. Service Titan is the only integrated intelligence that seamlessly automates your entire workflow, from first call to final invoice. Born in the trades, built for visionaries ready to stop operating and start automating. Service Titan, AI for the trades.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Los Angeles, your Rams have reloaded, and they're ready to kick off their 2026 campaign. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett joins reigning MVP Matthew Stafford to lead the Rams into massive matchups against the Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, Packers, and more. To experience every matchup live and enjoy home playoff ticket access, plus interest-free monthly payment plans and stadium event pre-sale access, visit therams.com/2026. Again, that is therams.com/2026. Get your Rams season tickets today.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Dodgers have the day off before a weekend series at the Ravine versus the Baltimore Orioles, coming off a very, I think, impressive and definitely hard-fought sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays. They are 48-27. Best record in baseball. Doesn't matter who's hurt. Doesn't matter who's slumping. How do they do this? I'm going to ask Blake Harris, who covers the Dodgers online, at Blake H. Harris on Twitter. He's also got his Substack, Thinkin' Blue with Blake Harris. You should subscribe. BlakeHarris.substack.com. Been a while, Blake. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are things over there for you, my man?
Doing okay. By the way, I am super jealous. I don't know if you attended the Mookie Betts event or not. Maybe you're calling me from there or whatever, but Nick Cage has dropped by Mookie Betts' event today of his foundation. I want to figure out how he ended up there.
I was listening right before I came on, and I just learned of your Nick Cage love. Unfortunately, I'm not there. If I was, I'd be going and finding him and having him call into the show so you could talk to him. But I also want to find out what Nick Cage is doing at Mookie's pickleball event, because those two things don't really seem to match.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was a pickleball event, which seems even less Nicolas Cage. He's definitely not dressed for pickleball. He's in like a leather jacket and cowboy boots. There's flowers on either the boots or the jacket or both. Like he's not playing, that's for sure.
Right. I was going to say maybe he's like a pickleball enthusiast, but knowing Nick Cage, if he was getting down with the pickleball, I think that would be the biggest Nick Cage surprise that we've ever learned over the last couple of decades.
And the man is full of surprises. But like I mentioned before, Blake, Dodgers are rolling along despite several injuries, some for the majority of the season. Like I have to remind myself all the time that Edwin Diaz is actually on this team. There's been several key players that have either quietly or loudly underperformed. I'm sure you get asked this all the time. How do they keep winning?
I should be asking you that as well, because I have no idea. I mean, if I would have told you at the beginning of the season that Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, they would essentially be irrelevant to this rotation. Edwin Diaz would have like 4 appearances. Kyle Tucker would be severely underperforming. Mookie Betts would miss about a month, and he'd be pretty terrible. You'd probably be thinking the Dodgers, they might be slightly above 500, but certainly the best record in baseball. I wouldn't be expecting that whatsoever. And we shouldn't be shocked at this way, because the Dodgers, it doesn't matter who's hurt. It doesn't matter who's slumping. They just always continue to find ways to win on a year-to-year basis. And as we've seen, money, it doesn't buy wins. You look at teams like the Mets, the Padres, they have some of the highest payrolls in baseball, but they have been terrible this season. So, again, the Dodgers, I know it's the regular season. I know it's easy to check out of the regular season because a lot of Dodgers fans focus on October. But the fact that, they have the best record in baseball at really the halfway mark, given the circumstances surrounding this team so far, I mean, it's really remarkable.
What is it that you think in particular about the way the Dodgers spend their money works so well? Because to your point, I 100% agree. Spending is not a guarantee to winning, much less championships.
I think for the most part, what it really is, it's just what Dave Roberts has built in that clubhouse. Because, again, you see it across the board. You have guys that are signing for $30, $40 million a year, and they could very well be putting up the numbers, but they're the only guys that are doing that. The Dodgers do a great job of putting together a team of guys that can just contribute. I mean, you look at a guy like Tommy Edman, for example. He just came off the injured list. He's missed the first couple months of the year. He's making, I think, like $15 million, which for a lot of teams, he'd be one of their highest paid players. The Dodgers, for the most part, only need Tommy Edman to be great defensively, have him move all around the diamond, where for other teams, you need him to be your everyday second baseman, hitting second or third in that lineup. You have a guy like Andy Pages, where for a lot of other teams, he would be relied upon as being the number one guy. The Dodgers, they're still paying him the arbitration number, and he's now cemented himself as the number two hitter in that lineup. So, the Dodgers, they have all these big contracts they're handing out. They have a lot of guys that they're relying on, but what they truly, truly specialize in is 1 through 9 in that order, 1 through 5 in that rotation, all the guys in the bullpen. They find specific guys that can fill a certain need when the Dodgers need them most, and that's what they've done so far in 2026.
Talking with Blake Harris, covers the Dodgers online on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. Also his Substack, Thinkin' Blue with Blake Harris. You can subscribe, blakeharris.substack.com. Destination for LA Sports, Andy Kamenetsky, 710 ESPN. Couple of injury updates. What's the latest with Will Smith and Teoscar?
So I'll start with Teoscar because that sounds like he's progressing really fine. He's had a hamstring injury. It does sound like he's probably going to miss another week or two, but it sounds like he's recovering all right. He should be back maybe before the All-Star break. Maybe the Dodgers want to hold him out just behind the All-Star break. Will Smith, this is a really weird one, I think. He suffered some sort of neck injury a couple weeks ago. I think it was like a stiff neck. And as usual, the Dodgers, they downplayed it. They said that he was going to be down for the next game, but he was expected to be available the next game. And that's 2 weeks ago. He's been on the injured list. He was able to be activated tomorrow to come off the 10-day IL. And Dave Roberts said he's not going to be able to come off the IL just yet. So maybe the Dodgers are just being extra cautious with him. No need to rush him back, especially when you have a viable catcher like Dalton rushing. But this one, it's a little weird. Hopefully it's not more serious than they're leading on. But, when you hear a guy's supposed to be down for maybe a day or two, and next thing you know, he's missing close to a month, there are a few little reasons to be concerned there.
And then between Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Edwin Diaz, who would you expect back first?
My guess would probably be Edwin Diaz at this point. Now, again, that's just a total guess. It sounds like Edwin Diaz and Blake Snell, they are progressing well, but with how much time both those guys have missed, you'd have to expect they're probably going to need a couple of rehab starts. Tyler Glasnow, the last update from Dave Roberts, sounded like he's not even really throwing off a mound just yet. Now, with Tyler Glasnow, it sounds like he's actually okay. They just maybe rushed him back a little bit too soon the last couple of times because he said when he was coming back to throw off a mound, his back flared up on him. So I think the Dodgers are just being extra cautious with him. Same thing goes with Snell. Same thing goes with Diaz. If I were to guess, I think Diaz might return maybe just around the end of the All-Star break. Maybe Blake Snell right around there as well, maybe middle to end of July. And Tyler Glasnow at this point, I'm going to put like an August return table for him. But as we've seen in years past with Tyler Glasnow, banking on this guy to be healthy, it's a daunting task, so I'm not going to hold my breath there. But again, the way the Dodgers make it sound, all three seem to be recovering just well at this point.
Shohei Ohtani yesterday, it was a rough outing despite him getting the individual win and the team getting the win. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, plus bad blister on top of knee inflammation that Dave Roberts has said they're managing, but it is not in the rearview mirror. He also didn't DH, but batted in place of Miguel Rojas, grounded out on the first pitch with a body language, to me, of a guy that regretted okaying that decision. Like, it was not very Ohtani-esque, but on the other hand, as the spectrum guys pointed out after the game, and I thought this was really interesting. It's the rare occasion where you really have to see Shohei Ohtani gut things out because you're just so used to him, if not dominating, just controlling the action. Do you agree with that? And if so, what do you take away from that other side of the coin, seeing that with Ohtani?
Yeah, it's really odd seeing this because we've pretty much all been led to believe that this man is invincible after what he's done the last couple of years, and clearly he's not that. He's dealing with a number of things. Yeah, the knee inflammation thing, that kind of came out of nowhere the other day. I know when he was pulled from the game, everyone's like, what just happened? Because this is something he hasn't dealt with ever since he came to the Dodgers. I know he dealt with this well with the Angels, but we haven't really seen him have this knee issue before. The blister thing, this I think is the weirdest thing because, as Dodgers fans remember with Rich Hill all those years ago, he dealt with blisters. It was an absolute disaster. That seems like that's just one of the more annoying injuries when it comes to pitchers because it's not like you can just take 10, 15 days, recover, and you're good to go. That's like something that kind of lingers. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Shohei's last two starts were by far his worst starts of the season, and it's when he has this massive blister. And yesterday seemed like it kind of really stepped up a notch because I know the camera, they were zooming in when he was exiting the game, and that thing looked like it was gushing blood. And
yes,
again, I know the Dodgers are kind of downplaying it. They're saying he's fine, he's good to go. I think Shohei even said he's good to go, he's able to pitch. But I really hope the Dodgers are extra cautious in regards to this blister because this is a thing you absolutely do not want to linger on as the season goes on. The Dodgers, they'd be more than okay if Shohei didn't pitch for them over the course of the next couple of weeks. They'd be over the next month while you allow that blister to fully heal because if this thing progressively gets kind of worse and worse as starts go on, all of a sudden now what happens if it's August or September and this thing really just ruptures and it's gushing blood and he can't pitch there. So again, I know Shohei's going to say he's fine. The Dodgers say he's fine, but with that blister especially, I just really hope that they're extra cautious because Shohei, whether he's pitching, whether he's hitting, you cannot afford to lose him. So again, if you got to miss out on a couple of starts from him this year, I think that's the safe road the Dodgers need to take.
And I mean, talking with Blake Harris, covers the Dodgers on Twitter at Blake Harris and his Substack Thinkin' Blue with Blake Harris. You should subscribe. Destination for LA Sports, Andy Kamenetsky, 710 ESPN. There's also the fact that as much as you mentioned earlier, it's sometimes hard to remember that Ohtani is in fact human and that he is in fact mortal. Like, he is getting older. And I think it is growing harder for him to both hit and pitch. As much as he is excelling at both, I do think at times the toll catches up to him. It actually leads to a theory of mine. I'm curious what you think of it. He's been open about wanting to win the Cy Young this year. And I don't know if he'll pitch enough innings to I guess, put him at the front of that race, but he's definitely pitching incredibly well this year. But I think a reason that he is so focused on doing it this year is because he recognizes I may not have many more opportunities to do it, like to really be peak Ohtani. Like, he's going to be great for a while, but peak is still another level, and he may recognize the time is running out for that, so I better do this stuff now.
Yeah, I think I agree with that take because, like you said, that's like the only thing on his mantle that isn't there yet, the Cy Young, and he's not getting any younger. Obviously, he's still in the heart of his prime right now, but when he's 34, 35, doing this two-way thing is going to be difficult. There's a chance he's just a pure hitter a couple years from now. Maybe he'll make an occasional start here and there, but like you said, obviously you want to picture Ohtani 10 years from now. He's still doing both these things, but this may be, the peak of what he's doing at the major league level. And as you mentioned, it is starting to kind of take a toll on him. We've seen the Dodgers give him so many rest days this year, where in previous years, it's like he gets 2 or 3 at the absolute max. Now he's getting rest days on days he starts. He's getting rest days on days after he starts, which me personally, I'm totally okay with. This is the regular season. The Dodgers have a 10-game lead. You don't need Shohei in there every single day. So if they want to be a little extra cautious with this rest, I'm all for that. And again, that's why it kind of sucks with this blister deal right now, because up until his last 2 starts, me personally, I think he should have been the Cy Young favorite. Now, obviously, there are guys that are having incredible seasons across the National League, and I think with Shohei's last couple of starts, him taking a step back, that's probably going to hurt his chances. So maybe in August, if it's looking like Shohei isn't really making a Cy Young push, again, the Dodgers can maybe take a step back on the pitching front, maybe give him some extra rest, because this is the guy that the Dodgers are going to need in October in the starting rotation. Obviously, you need his bat at the top of the lineup, but with the way the rotation looks right now, with Tyler Glasnow being a question mark, Blake Snell being a question mark, you don't know what you're going to get with Robleski or Sasaki. You do need Ohtani along with Yamamoto leading that 1-2 punch. So the Dodgers, they have a master plan. Obviously, they're smarter than all of us, so hopefully they follow this plan okay, and hopefully Ohtani, he gets the rest he needs. Hopefully he recovers, and hopefully he's good to go in the second half.
And then last question for you. We're talking with Blake Harris, covers the Dodgers online at Blake H. Harris on Twitter. He's also got his Substack, Thinkin' Blue with Blake Harris. You can subscribe at blakeharris.substack.com. Andy Kamenetsky, destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN. When he's not hanging out with Nicolas Cage, Mookie Betts has been trying to break out of this slump that's had a carryover really from last season. He's had a good last 7 games. Maybe that's the start, but there's a lot of evidence that he is in decline. Do you think there is a version between this Mookie and peak Mookie that still exists, or do you think we are just seeing age and attrition catching up to him like all athletes?
Yeah, I definitely think Mookie's decline is real. I don't think it's just a little struggle, because obviously this year he dealt with a major injury. Last year he had that virus where he lost 15, 20 pounds and he was never able to bounce back. But if you go back to the 2024 season, the last month and a half, Mookie was struggling as well. Now, while I don't think Mookie is ever going to be the 30-plus home run, 20-plus stolen bases, MVP frontrunner that he was in his first couple years at the Dodgers, I definitely think he could still be a valuable player for the team moving forward, mainly because of his defense. He plays at shortstop. He's one of the best shortstops in all of baseball, which is still a crazy thing to say. So if you get that defense from Mookie and you're able to get 15 to 20 home runs from him, maybe like an OPS around 750 to 800, that is still an insanely valuable player. I don't think Mookie should be hitting cleanup at this point. I do think that that's the thing that Dave Roberts, he did feel bad that he had to drop Mookie from the number 2 spot. Maybe it's just a pride thing where Mookie doesn't want to hit 5th or 6th. And I think if Mookie is hitting, let's say, 6th in the lineup and he's posting the numbers that he's posting, I don't think many fans are going to have that much of a problem with it. And if anything, I think that's a better situation for Mookie. It's just tough when you have your cleanup hitter, like you said, over his last 7 games or so, he has heated up a little. But when you have a guy that is below league average at the plate hitting cleanup, there could be some problems there. So for Mookie, I'm perfectly comfortable with him being the player he is moving forward. But again, if he just wants to slide down to 5 or 6 in the lineup, I think that would be a perfect place for him, and he would still be an extremely valuable player. And even, I think, a top 5 shortstop in baseball still, like I said, just because of the value he provides defensively.
Okay, that said really quickly, Blake, I don't think it gets talked about enough just how insane it is that a guy this late into Mookie Betts' career moved from right field to shortstop and is able to perform at the level that he does. Like, arguably it's the most difficult, I think, infield position, but you could argue it's the most difficult position, period, other than maybe catcher or center field. Like, that he's been able to make this type of transformation without having a background in it, like even at the high school level. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, I've taken it for granted because we truly don't appreciate just how difficult this has been. And obviously, when he was transitioning over to shortstop, I remember everyone was always bringing up, there's never been a 6 or 7 time Gold Glove outfielder that has made the switch to the infield. And again, like, you're not moving to first base or second base, some of the easier positions. You're moving to shortstop, which is considered to be the most difficult position in all of baseball. And again, he's not 25, he's 26. He's, well kind of past his prime. He's in year 10, year 11 of his MLB career, and he's being a top 5, maybe even a top 3 defensive shortstop in all of baseball. It's just remarkable. Like I said, I don't think I appreciate it enough. I don't think Dodgers fans appreciate it enough because obviously Shohei Ohtani is something we've never seen before in baseball. But again, what Mookie Betts is doing, being arguably the best outfielder in all of baseball, especially defensively, moving to the infield, moving to a position like shortstop, this late in his career where I don't think he'd played the position since he was like a teenager. I mean, it really is remarkable. He's really helped out the Dodgers by moving to shortstop. And again, I don't think he gets the appreciation that he deserves because that is something that we're probably never going to see, at least, the next couple of decades, a player like that caliber switching positions and being arguably even better at that new position.
He is Blake Harris. He covers the Dodgers on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. Also his Substack. You should subscribe. Thinkin' Blue with Blake Harris. Appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
And I appreciate you as always, man. Hopefully you can run into Nick Cage and get him on the show.
Oh, dare to dream. Dare to dream, Blake Harris. All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course, brother.
I really do need to know what Nicolas Cage is doing at this event with Mookie Betts. That is such a random pairing, Mookie Betts and Nicolas Cage. Coming up, close out a little more Dodgers talk. Something that has occurred to me about Shohei Ohtani over the last couple of weeks that I think is really awesome for the Dodgers beyond all the awesome other stuff. That coming up next. Destination for LA Sports, 710 ESPN.
ESPN LA may sound one way on AM.
But you know where it sounds best?
You guessed it, crystal clear digital audio.
Crystal clear digital audio on the all-new ESPN LA app.
Just search ESPN LA wherever you get your apps.
And you can always watch LA's mega sports station live or on demand on our YouTube channel at ESPN Los Angeles.
The summer savings are heating up at George Chevrolet with great offers on the hottest Chevy models. It's Chris Morales. Right now, current eligible Chevy leases can upgrade to a new 2026 Chevrolet Equinox Active for just $349 a month plus tax for 36 months with $39.95 due at signing. Visit George Chevrolet off the 91 freeway at Lakewood exit in Bellflower or shop online at georgechevy.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Equinox lease plus title, tax, license, registration, government fees, dealer time fee up to $85 and electric filing or registration fee if applicable. Lease for well-qualified lessees on approved credit through GM Financial and may require trade-in assistance eligibility. Offer at 7/6/2026. Call 866-949-4805 for full details.
This summer's biggest football watch party experience is happening at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa. Catch every Mexico and USA match live, surrounded by nonstop game day energy, passionate fans, drink specials, surprise giveaways, grab fire asada tacos, slow braised quesadilla, fresh ceviches, warm churros, and more while you cheer on your team with the entire Mercado. Mercado Gonzalez, your soccer fan paradise this summer. Join us every Mexico and USA match at Mercado Gonzalez in Costa Mesa, where every match tastes better.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNLAcontests.com.
That's ESPNLAcontests.com. Men, your health is the real MVP. Providence reminds you that many of the top health risks men face can go unnoticed. But annual checkups, screenings, and knowing your numbers can make all the difference. From staying active and eating well to prioritizing sleep and mental wellness, small steps can have a big impact. Providence brings together the best minds in men's health, keeping you in the game with trusted, compassionate care. Take control of your health like I did. Learn more at Providence.org. Providence, caring with compassion in Southern California.
All right, so I did a Google search. Nicolas Cage, Mookie Betts, friends. I'm obsessed with figuring out how Nicolas Cage ended up at Mookie Betts' foundation's pickleball tournament that's going on today, off day in between the Dodgers series that they just concluded with the Rays, a sweep. Tomorrow they kick things off against the O's. According to the AI overview, there is no known friendship between Nicolas Cage and Dodger star Mookie Betts. The closest thing, because I mentioned before, Nicolas Cage is not known as a sports fan at all. I have never seen him at a Lakers game, and I've been to hundreds of Lakers games, and I've seen a lot of rando celebrities at Laker games. Never seen him at that. Never seen him at a Dodgers game. Never seen him at a sporting event. The closest thing the AI overview could come up with to a Nicolas Cage sports connection is simply that Phillies pitcher Matt Strahm looks a lot like Nicolas Cage, which is true. He actually looks a ton like Nick Cage. And apparently, again, this is according to the AI overview, and I think the source is Front Office Sports, and they are credible, that Matt Strahm actually owns a baseball glove adorned with the Declaration of Independence, which is a nod to National Treasure.
I knew Mookie's a big National Treasure guy.
Is he?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, Wilbur, don't tease me, man. I thought you solved this thing.
No, it has to be. It all ties back to National Treasure.
Seriously, I am obsessed with figuring out how Nicolas Cage is at this thing. Like, I really mean it. He is one of my all-time favorite actors. I've been kind of Cage obsessed going back to the 80s, and he's just, beyond being a great actor, he's a really interesting, eccentric personality that doesn't seem to often gravitate towards stuff, frankly, as mainstream as the Dodgers. But if he's there and having a good time supporting what I'm going to assume is an excellent foundation run by the Betts family, more power to him. That's good stuff. I'd mentioned before something that occurred to me with Shohei Ohtani that I'll get into over the last couple of minutes before we say goodbye, that I think really speaks to the relationship between Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. He's been open about wanting to win the Cy Young this year, and it's a little ironic to bring this up now where he's dealing with some health stuff that could potentially, if not get in the way of him playing, lead the Dodgers to have to practically manage a lot of what he does out there. But he wants to win the Cy Young, but he's part of a six-man rotation, which I think Cy Young voters may hold against him if they have to break ties and figure out who they ultimately vote for. He also often pitches about 6 innings, and that's it. Again, because Shohei Ohtani has to be managed in ways other pitchers don't, because other pitchers don't hit on an everyday basis. Ohtani does, and therefore you have to manage his workload. And while that's awesome for Ohtani, it does limit the amount of innings that he pitches, which I think also could be held against him with Cy Young voters. As much as Ohtani, again, has openly wanted to win the Cy Young this year, he clearly does not put his personal goals ahead of the team goals. Because if he wanted to, dude's got the clout to make it clear, keep me in these games longer because I'm trying to win the Cy Young Award, or I don't want to be in a 6-man rotation because that's going to be held against me. And Ohtani could make a stink about this if he wanted to, but he doesn't, because ultimately he recognizes, even with his own greatness goals, what matters most is in October for the Dodgers, Mexico, it's official, 1-0 over South Korea in the World Cup. Thank you to Mike Garcia and Anthony Irwin and Blake Harris for dropping by. Also to Mike Trudell calling in. Best of luck to Little Riggs with his broken wrist. Thank you to Wilbur, obviously, for running the board. Thanks to the kids in the back with the social media. This has been Destination for LA Sports. Andy Kamenetsky, 710 ESPN.
It's DeMarco Farr and Travis Rogers for your afternoon drive.